I sense the anticipation building in the room. Good morning, Unity of Music City. Hey, everybody online. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy first Sunday of October. It is fall. Can we say hallelujah to fall? Well, as we always do, we're going to start off with a couple of songs this morning to get our energy up and get it focused on having a great service. Today, we're going to focus on releasing the week that was and standing in the truth of who we are today. So let's all stand up. There was a time in my life, thought I'd have to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you're discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for. Say it to me. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here. Sing it one more time. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. All right, let's stand in our truth. 1, 2, 1, 2. You can get your sway on. Yeah. Listen to that bass, y'all. Yeah. Here we go. I'm not gonna give in to this world's misery. I've learned a lesson that always sets me free. In any situation, the best thing I can do is to know who I am and let that light shine through. I'm gonna stand in my truth. Stand in my truth. I'm gonna stand in my truth and let my troubles go. I'm gonna stand in my truth. Stand in my truth. I'm gonna whisper a prayer and claim my power to make it so. Make it so. I will not get caught up, nope, in other people's stuff. Keeping my focus to me is quite enough. When I'm feeling cornered, I get still and breathe and remember who I am and all that I believe. I'm gonna stand in my truth, stand in my truth. I'm gonna stand in my truth and let my troubles go. I'm gonna stand in my truth, stand in my truth. I'm gonna whisper a prayer to claim my power to make it so. All right, this one's for you. Gonna stand in my truth, stand in my truth. I'm gonna stand in my truth and let my troubles go. I'm gonna stand in my truth, stand in my truth. I'm gonna whisper a prayer to claim my power to make it so. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna whisper a prayer to claim my power to make it so. Make it so. I'm gonna whisper a prayer to claim my power to make it so. Make it so. All right. You sound great this morning. Have a seat. Amy, do you want to read?
Good morning, Unity of Music City.
Good morning.
Let's begin this portion of our service by taking a deep, centering breath. Today's centering statement is, my thoughts and emotions are forms of creative spiritual power. The more rooted we become in our spiritual practice, the more mindful we are of our thoughts and emotions. And when we are aware of our thoughts and emotions, we can choose to change them. When we experience negativity and pain, whether from the outside world or our inner experience, we can turn to the spiritual tools of forgiveness, gratitude, and kindness. When we follow these principles, we can change our thoughts and emotions for good. Now please repeat these affirming statements after me. I master my emotions by changing my thoughts. I master my emotions by changing my thoughts. Every emotion I experience brings me great self-awareness. Every emotion that I experience brings me great self-awareness. I am free to determine every response to every situation in my life. I am free to determine every response to every situation in my life. And so it is.
So it is. Well, welcome everyone to Unity of Music City. We call ourselves a place for authentic transformation. And that means that no matter where you are on your spiritual journey, you have come to a place where there is no judgment, only love and support for you wherever you are at your life. So welcome to our service today. If there are anybody that's going to join the youth department today, please follow Stephanie out. Adjournment is in process. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I want to say hello to everyone online. Thank you for being here, too. Your presence is felt and appreciated. Sherry, do we have any announcements?
Yes, we do. Good morning.
Good morning.
Our youth program, obviously, has begun. We had an exodus there. And so if you have a young person who would like to share in some playful, spiritual, uplifting activities, please see Stephanie Jacobs. She's not in here to wave at you, but we want to make sure that everybody knows Stephanie. But she has some special information that she would like to share with you guys before I go on, talking about the youth department. Next week, October the 9th, is Family Sunday. There will be no childcare. Children are welcome to enjoy the service with their families. Childcare and youth department will be back in action on Sunday, October 16th. Okay. Stephanie and the youth would like to thank everyone for the gifts received so far on the Amazon wish list that was created a few weeks ago. With everyone's love and support, we are creating a beautiful space for this new program. There are still items needed. The link for the Amazon wish list can be found on the website as well as the weekly newsletter. Monthly volunteers. Ding, 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 big announcement. Monthly volunteers, we are needed in the nursery. Okay, please see Stephanie if you would love the opportunity to hang out with our littlest gurus and see where all the fun is at on Sundays at Unity of Music City. Okay, that's all the announcements for the youth program. Isn't that awesome? Okay. A leadership council meeting is after service this morning, so, if you're in leadership, remember to stick around because we've got leadership going on afterwards. The prayer chaplains are always available for your prayers, so if you have a prayer concern that you would like for them to hear about, to know, to hold the space for you and with you, you can email that request to uofmcprayerrequests@gmail.com. There's also a prayer box at the back of the room if you are present today and would like to, put a prayer request in that box. It is there for that purpose. Any and all prayers are heard and answered, whether we know that or not. So, just one thing about the announcements. As you come in on Sunday mornings, we're scrolling the announcements, the ones that I pretty much have said this morning, minus some of the youth department announcements. So pay attention to that as you sit and kind of ground yourself and get, because they kind of go whiz by right now, but Crystal's fixing that. It's a work in progress, so we'll have those. So check in with those because we're not going to repeat every same thing every Sunday. So make sure you pay attention to the slides up front. Okay, Ryan, that's it.
All right. Well, it's the first Sunday of the month, and we have a new monthly mantra. But before we go into singing, I want to just note a couple of different things. First of all, as I sit here, I'm looking at the construction that has started on the new ADA-compliant bathroom, restroom for everyone. Can I get a hallelujah? Hallelujah. We're so thankful that we're able to be doing that now. And we've only been in here in this building a short time, so construction has already happened. The second thing that I want to tell you guys today is that there's a couple of people sitting behind me, or standing and sitting behind me. I want to welcome Candy on percussion, Jackson on bass. We have a rhythm section, y'all. All right, and for October's monthly mantra, the monthly mantra that we do every month is a song that really speaks to who we are as a community and who we want to be as a community, what we want to exemplify in the world. And the song that we have for this month is called We Come Together. I'm not going to say anything else about it except that it is an action-oriented song, and it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So if you are singing and watching these lyrics, I want to see some activities involved in while you're singing. So here we go. Stand up. 2, 3, 4. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Here we go.
Now look at the person next to you.
Say, I
Recognize the God in you. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love.
From
Every walk of life, every creed and every color, in should we unite in honor of the God in each other.
Take a look at the person
Next to you, say namaste, I bow to you. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of
This is you,
love.
y'all. Together.
We come 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 together in the name of love.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together in the name of love.
That's it. Wow. All right. Y'all be seated. Please be seated.
I was gonna say what a difference 4 little strings make, but he's got a 5-string bass over there. So what a difference 5 little strings makes. What a rhythm section this morning. How perfect. I mean, it's smoking over there this morning. How perfect it was that we accidentally slid forward to the word meditation. Right as we were singing, we come together in the name of love. Because that is really, really everything. Everything wrapped up into one. We're going to have a little bit, slightly different meditation this morning. Ryan's going to play throughout it. We won't go into total silence. But I invite you for a moment to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Or just focus on a spot that you choose on the floor. Any place where you can soften your eyes. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. Lower your shoulders. See if you can become just 5% more comfortable in your chair. As you listen to Ryan's music and the sound of my voice, notice that the sound originates and it is sent out into the air. It comes into your ear, floats around inside your body. Remember how when Jackson and Candy were playing up here, how you felt it in your bones. And I want to ask if you can identify a boundary between the music and you. Where does the sound stop and you begin? The sound comes into your beingness and then it becomes a part of you. Imagine, if you will, a beautiful rose bush. Flowers are in bloom. You lean over to smell the flower. Before you even get up next to it, you could smell the perfume. It comes in through your nose and goes into your beingness. Can you discern a boundary between the source of the perfume and the perfume in you? Now focus on your breath. Don't control it. Just let it be. If we focus on the breath long enough, we lose our sense of whether we are breathing or being breathed. By being in this room together today, we share this air. Can you discern a boundary between the air outside of you and the air that is pulled into your lungs? In the same way, the presence of God is the presence of you. The essence of God is the essence of you. We cannot even discern a boundary. There's no point at which God stops and you begin. And knowing this, we can rest in it anytime we need to. We can remember it anytime we need to. The sound of the piano is the vibration of God resonating in your soul. The smell of the flower that you can smell even if it's not here is the perfume of God resting in your soul. The breath you breathe is the breath of God in constant communion with you. And know that as you bring your full awareness back into this space, maybe begin to wiggle your toes or open your eyes just a little as you feel comfortable. You come back into this space as a being who knows this, as the very presence of the divine. This is awakening. You would think that Ryan and I planned that. We didn't. We didn't plan that at all. So before, just to manage expectations, I'm not going to get any pretty pictures except that one today. So if you get lost in that one, as Crystal has predicted that you will do, then just know that what I said was brilliant. I got up this morning. Nikki's at home this morning. She got home from a few days out on the road, so she's watching. Maybe she's watching. She said she'd be watching. And she said, "Well, you look nice today." And I said, "Well, thank you. I'm dressed up for the holiday." And she said, what holiday? And I said, well, I guess you're going to have to watch and find out, aren't you? So in just a moment, I'll let you know what holiday I'm talking about. But I wanted to take this opportunity on the first day of October, the first Sunday, not the first day, the first Sunday of October. Anybody as excited as I am for October? It's my favorite. I wanted to take this time to kind of do a little bit of a review as we head into some really important months. And I'm going to speak to you primarily just from my heart today about some things that have been rolling around in me. And I'm also exercising again my own faith journey to just trust that Spirit will bring through this conduit whatever Spirit wants to bring today. As a little review over the past year, we've done quite a few stuff. We've looked at quite a few things. We've looked at elements like earth, air, fire, and water. Do you remember that? Way back at the beginning of the year, we talked about the elements, and we talked about building a spiritual home and being repairers of the breach. We talked about our series. We had our series on all of our belief statements that we came up with as a community. That went on for a while. We had our Palm Sunday and Easter series. We did our Revolutionary Love series with Valerie Kaur's See No Stranger, and we did our Manifestation series. And now we're heading into what could arguably be said is the most important time of the year in many faith traditions, right? We're right in the middle of a couple of holidays, as a matter of fact. This Wednesday is Yom Kippur, excuse me. I don't believe that door is completely closed. Would you mind just pulling that? I can hear stuff, and that's great. I love having that problem of hearing children. Yom Kippur is this Wednesday. It comes 10 days after Rosh Hashanah. This is what the Jewish religion calls the High Holy Days, right? And Yom Kippur is the most spiritual, sacred day in the Jewish religion. It's the Day of Atonement. There are some Christian traditions that also honor the Day of Atonement. A lot of them are Messianic Jews, Jews for Jesus, things of that nature. But on the Day of Atonement, what one is to do three things. They are to pray, they are to repent of their sins, and they are to give to charity. Now, we don't talk a lot about this kind of thing in Unity. We don't talk a lot about repenting of sins because we know that sin is a Hebrew word from way back when that simply means missing the mark. It's an archer's term. But I think sometimes when we step away, we get our dose of that. Most of us did in our early years, didn't we? When I was growing up in the traditional church, oh my gosh, I heard about sin enough to last me 3 lifetimes. So we don't talk about that very often. But I think sometimes we miss this sense of atonement. It's the same idea that we find in a 12-step program of making amends, of recognizing when we've made a mistake, and stepping out and being willing to own it, being willing to want to make it right, and then the giving of charity. This week also, October 7th and 8th, in the Muslim tradition, they'll be celebrating the Prophet Muhammad's birthday, right? And so that's a huge, huge time. I may talk about that a little bit next week. We're also right in the middle in the Hindu religion of the festival called Navratri, also known as the Festival of the Goddess, 9 days of the Goddess. I know, right? We're right in the middle of it. 9 days of the Goddess. September 26th to October 5th. It ends on Yom Kippur this year. A 9-day festival of the Goddess Durga that celebrates the triumph of good over evil. There's a different story for every day. As with all Hindu traditions, there's lots of stories and lots of goddesses and lots of interesting things. I believe the goddess today is the day we celebrate her destroying the water buffalo god or demon. Yeah, the water buffalo demon, that's right. But it's the triumph of good over evil. And then we're going to come up at the end of this month and we're going to have Halloween, which we're going to be talking a little bit about the spiritual aspects of Halloween this year. Halloween is on a Monday. So on Sunday the 30th, I told Stephanie out there, I said, we need to all dress up on Sunday the 30th. And I hate to dress up. So I know that was Spirit coming through me. because I had to kind of turn around and go, what are you saying? We're going to have Thanksgiving before too long. We're going to have Christmas. We're going to have Hanukkah. We're going to have New Year's. We got a lot of great stuff coming up, a lot of special services we're going to have, a lot of special events we're going to be having, a fall festival with some different gatherings and different offerings for you. And so it's a good time for us to just kind of take a moment to touch base with each other right now as we head into that. Every time I am preparing to speak, even back in the days when Reverend Denise was here and I might periodically step in for her when she was on vacation, I would pray the same prayer. I would pray that something would come through me that would help someone. Something would come through me that would help someone. And I thought that that was letting go as much as possible, trying to get my ego out of the way. Nothing happens because of me, it happens through me, as much as possible. But even sometimes I have to let go of that desire and just let it be, because the truth is, every now and then I know when someone has been moved by something. They tell me, they send me a text message, they let me know in some way. But a lot of times I don't know. I just have to trust. It's kind of like in my teaching career, I have a story that I've told almost every single class I've ever taught. I believe that I've told you all before, but some of you may not have heard it, so I'll tell you really quickly. It's the story of the man with the horse. So this has been attributed to an African tribal customary story. It's been attributed to Native American custom. It's been attributed, it's probably come out, like most good things do, out of several different regions of the world at the same time. But there was a man with a horse, and this was years ago, back in the days when having a horse meant that you were the wealthiest guy in the whole village. And he had this beautiful stallion, and one day the gate was left open on his corral, and the stallion ran away. And all of the people in the village came to him and said, "This is terrible. What a horrible, horrible." It reminds me, as a matter of fact, of what's going on with our friends in Florida right now. Those people who are experiencing the loss of everything, right? If you can imagine that this was a similar kind of loss for this man. He lost everything when that horse ran away. And the people said, "This is terrible." And he said, "Maybe so. Maybe not. We'll see." A few days later, his son was out working in the yard, and he sees the stallion come running down out of the mountains into the plains. And following the stallion is like 40 head of wild horses. And so the son, fast thinking as he was, ran over to the corral and opened the gate, and sure enough, the stallion, it was home. It ran right in. And following that stallion were these 40 horses. The son quickly closed the gate behind him, went and told his father, "Oh my gosh, we've won the lottery. We have just won the lottery." All the people of the village came to the man and they said, "This is the greatest good fortune we've ever seen anyone have. This is the most wonderful, amazing thing that could ever have happened. Congratulations." And the man said, "Maybe so. Maybe not. We'll see." And then, a few days later, his son was trying to break one of these wild horses, because wild horses, I guess, have to be broken, although there's a whole spiritual talk in that, I suppose. Some of you wild horses have never been broken. That's why you're at Unity. Yeah, thank you for the sound effects. Our Foley artist in the front row is. So a few days later, the man's son is out breaking one of the horses, and he's riding this horse. It's a particularly feisty horse, and he's trying to get it under control, and the horse throws him. And the man's son falls off in a weird way, lands in a strange way, breaks his leg. Now, if we're living in the day when a horse makes you rich, then we're also living in a day where a broken leg can make you dead. It's a serious, serious problem to have a son with a broken leg. And he calls the medicine man, and he calls all the people the women come and put a poultice on it, and they try to straighten it out, and they do what they know to do to heal this man's leg. And all the people in the village come, and they say, "This is terrible, your only son, and he's in terrible condition. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen. And the man said, maybe so, maybe not. We'll see. A few days later, a neighboring tribe attacked their village. And every able-bodied man was called upon to run to the defense of their village, to pick up their bows and their arrows and their shields and fight for the safety of their homeland. And they were slaughtered, except for the man's son, who was laid up with a broken leg. And so I've told this story to every class of students, and I've asked them, what is the message here? What are we getting out of this? And of course, they understand very clearly that the message is things aren't always as they appear from the very beginning. And things that look horrible can be one of the most beautiful blessings you've ever received. And things that look wonderful could be something that becomes a burden that you have to bear in the long run. And so over the years, I've had lots of students who come back and I run into them 20 years later. My very first class I ever taught at TSU is putting together their 20th anniversary celebration, their 20th class of whatever, 20 years ago, 2002, which means I had them in 1998 because they were freshmen. And they're celebrating that. It's freaking me out just a little bit. But if I run into one of them, if I run into any one of my old students, they often come up to me and say, you know what, there's one thing I remember from your class. And I'm waiting for them to say, I learned how to write a paper, or I learned critical thinking skills, or I understand that I sometimes comes after E, or whatever, I before E. But what they usually say is, I remember that story about the man and the horse. That's what they remember. And I didn't plan it. It has never once been written into my lesson plans. It always just comes up, bubbles up because of some purpose that we're talking about in class that day. So maybe I thought, since I'm kind of following Spirit's guidance this morning, and my prayer is that somebody gets something out of it, my safety valve is, I told you the story of the man with the horse, all right? This past weekend, Nikki and I were in Denver, Colorado, visiting some of my family. And while I was there, I had an interesting situation happen. On Saturday morning, I was supposed to be on a mandatory 3-hour Zoom meeting, right? Through my job. First off, do you hear the word Saturday in that? And mandatory? And I'm checking my contract to see if that's really part of what I'm required to do. And it was mandatory, and the person in charge of it was very adamant about the fact that it was mandatory. And I had told her beforehand, you know what, I'm going to be out of town. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this. It's mandatory. You better figure it out. So when I woke up on Saturday morning, I decided, well, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to log in. I'm going to give it the old college try. And I'm going to try to log in. Well, come to find out, I had totally forgotten about the time zone difference. So I was already an hour late, right? I start to log in. I think she had locked down Zoom, like you had to have an armed guard to get into that Zoom room, right? And so I'm trying to get in. I can't quite get in. I can't figure it out. Do I have the right link? Let me go back to my email. Let me check the link. Let me do all of this stuff. And I'm text messaging with a friend of mine at the school. I said, I can't get in. She said, let me get a hold of somebody. I'll try to help you get that. We're doing this for like 30 minutes. Now, I had not known when I had gone out there that my niece's special event, her open house and her celebration of her wedding, was going to be a Saturday brunch. So they were starting at 11 o'clock. And you know what happens when your family's having a special event like that? You all become caterers, right? You have to be there early and make sure everything's set up right. And I knew my family was already getting started. And at a certain point, I just stopped. And I turned to Nikki. We were still in the hotel room. I turned to Nikki and I said, I'm not doing this. I'm just not going to do this. And I texted my friend and I said, thanks for your help, but I'm not going to do this. I'll speak with so-and-so next week and we'll figure out what needs to be done. Well, now you really need to get in here. I said, I am not doing this. And finally, after about 4 back and forth on the text message, she got it. I'm not doing this. And I said, right now, my family is far more important than this meeting. And I'm going to go do what I need to do with my family. And I got to tell you, I drew a boundary. And it felt good. And it's been a lifelong lesson of learning how to draw those boundaries. I've been working on that since I was like, I don't know, 3 months old, I'm pretty sure. Trying to figure out how to do that. In my 20s, I didn't even like the term boundary because I misunderstood it and I thought it meant that I was building a wall between me and another person. And that's not what it is at all. It's building a wall between me and unacceptable behavior. It's building a wall between me and an unacceptable expectation. You have an expectation that this meeting is mandatory for me on Saturday when I'm here celebrating my niece's wedding and her open house for her new home. I do not have that expectation for myself. So thank you. And it felt so good because we have to sometimes give ourselves permission to do this. This past Wednesday, we had our last meeting of our Artist Way class, which is a fantastic class, and it's been a fantastic session, and I hope Heather and Grace from New Mexico are watching. They've been a part of that. It's great to relate with them one-on-one in those Zoom sessions. But last week, we were reading the chapter on recovering a sense of abundance. And this is the first paragraph. I'm going to share it with you. The first paragraph of this chapter reads like this. I'm a believer, Nancy declares. I just don't believe God gets involved with money. Although she doesn't recognize it, Nancy carries two self-sabotaging beliefs. She believes not only that God is good, too good to do money, but also that money is bad. Nancy, like many of us, needs to overhaul her God concept in order to fully recover her creativity. And in the margin over here, I wrote, I disagree. Because I get to disagree. Because we all have our own path. And we get to know what feels good inside of us and what doesn't feel good inside of us. Now, there's nothing, that should not tell you anything about the Artist Way and Julia Cameron. I love them both. Every other paragraph in here is, I agree, I agree, I agree, I agree. But here's why I disagree. I disagree because one of the challenges, one of the growth opportunities that I've had with a lot of prosperity and abundance and manifestation talk is that it seems to inherently include a judgment that someone is doing it wrong. Let me tell you how to do it right because you're doing it wrong, and that's why things aren't working out for you. And in addition to let something come through me that speaks to someone, the underlying energy of everything in whatever ministry I ever have is, first, do no harm. First, do no harm. Pass no judgment. I'm not on your path. I don't know what your path is. I can try to hold a flashlight and shine it on that path. That's the best that I can do. So first, do no harm. Here, thus, is the message I have for you today. This is the very thing that drove this entire talk today, and that is my desire to send this message to you. You are not doing anything wrong. You are not doing anything wrong. And if you feel something in your spirit right now that wants to resist that and say, well, I could do this, well, I could, let that go too. Let that go too. Because the truth is, every piece on our journey is there for us. Something's not happening to us, it's happening for us. It's for our benefit. And even in those moments when I've looked at my own behavior and said, hey, you know what? I could improve this. I don't like the outcome I keep getting with this behavior. I want to improve that. I wasn't wrong. I was learning. I wasn't wrong. I was learning. You're not doing anything wrong. You are right on track. You are in the right place with the right people at the right time. You are on schedule. You have everything you need. You're going to be okay. You're going to be more than okay. You're going to reach enlightenment. And how do I know that? Because it is your natural state. Living in constant communion with the presence of the divine is your natural state. So I don't have to step out on a really thin limb to say that you're going to reach it because I know you're already there. You may not have complete awareness of it. You may not be awakened to it completely. But you are already there. Those times in my life when I didn't draw a boundary, every single one of those was necessary to me understanding how to draw a boundary, when to draw a boundary. Because there are no absolute rules. If there were absolute rules, I could just hand them to you. We could all go our merry way and follow them, right? Life, the spiritual journey, is an art. And it's an art that each one of us paints a different picture, a different creation, a different work. And so the number one thing I ever want to do as I stand up here is to say, you're right on track. You're doing it just right. Even when it feels like things aren't moving fast enough. I should have gotten this by now. I should have been to this certain point by this point in my life. Right? I looked at my niece. They've built this incredibly beautiful house. Both she and her husband are under 40, and they've built their dream home with a little help from his mom. But at any rate, they're under 40, and they built their dream home, and I thought, what a beautiful thing to have happen in your life. How far would you have gone in life if you'd had your dream home when you were 37 years old? I don't know. All I know is they're right on track, and so am I. And so are you. Every single one of us. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Because, get ready for this, God does some of her best work slowly. So if it feels like it's moving slowly, there's some of the best work happening in you right now. It is going to flower in ways that you can't even imagine. Even as a church community, there have been times when we've often operated in years past from that what are we doing wrong idea of abundance. We are a nonprofit organization. We have certain needs. We have an ongoing budget. We have to meet that budget. We have a weekly outlay and we have a weekly income, and we really would like for the weekly income to be more than the weekly outlay, so that we can continue to do things like offer special programs, so that our next building, our next construction might be expanding the sanctuary. Wouldn't that be beautiful to need to do that? And so sometimes we've often operated from, well, we're not pulling in what we need, so what are we doing wrong? As a community, just breathe. We're not doing anything wrong. We're showing up. We're continuing to operate in an artistic way with the creator of the universe. We're listening, we're open, we're ready to receive, right? And we're trusting, and we're faithful. Rather than trying to figure out what abundance program we need to look at next, what book do we need to read? How do we need to hold our mouth when we pray? Should I sit like this? Should I sit like this? Whatever feels good, do it. I always hesitate to offer absolutes. It's your journey. And it gets a little bit interesting when we're in community with one another because we're all on different journeys coming together to do this. And that's why we have to treat each other gently. We have to hold our rules and our ideas lightly because we are doing this with each other in community. Some of you know that one of my favorite spiritual teachers is Muji. I love Muji. Muji always brings me back home, or the words of Muji. I want to share this quote with you of Muji. He says, "Never assume you have attained truth. Don't make any claim to knowledge. Form no conclusion or evaluation concerning truth. The minute you do, your downfall is assured. Whenever you imagine you know something, you cease being open to the living exploration. You have closed a door and cut off the oxygen to the breathing truth." Oh, I love that. I just love that. It's not that we can't know things. It's not that we don't have truth with a capital T. It's not that we can't know that we know that we know. It's that we hold that lightly. We say, wow, this is where you've brought me right now, Spirit. Where are we going next? What are we going to learn next? What's going to open up to us next? I can't wait to find out. So I would far rather that you leave a service that I've participated in with a stronger sense of who you are, that divine essence of God that you are breathing into yourself at every given moment, that part that has no boundary between you and it, that part you are always connected to. I would much rather you leave here silently feeling that as you walk out the door than feeling like you've just learned a formula for winning the lottery, and thank you, Deb, I'm going to tell you all about it. I'd rather you walk out and tell me nothing, but you walk out slightly closer, slightly more aware that the essence of God lives in you, as you, through you, in every moment. For those of you who need a little bit of Christianity to put all that together, there's a great verse from 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6 through 7. Every now and then I have to just dip my toe in Christianity because somebody needs it. I know somebody in here is like, give me some Jesus right now. Okay. Let's go Jesus. One of the reasons, by the way, that I am a huge, huge follower of Mooji and his teachings is that he is very steeped in Advaita Vedanta. He's steeped in Hinduism. His teachers were Hindu. He started in Christianity. So he's just as often going to mention Jesus as he is going to mention Ramana Maharshi, right? And so he speaks a little bit of the language I was raised with, which helps. 1 Peter 5, 6 through 7 says, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you." And the first time I read that many years ago, I thought, well, that's a really kind of namby-pamby way to say it. He cares for you. It's kind of like, you know that there's a breakup coming when someone says, you know, I really care for you, right? There's usually something really bad coming right after that. But God cares for you like a mother cares for a baby, takes care of that baby's every need, feeds that child, right? Helps, takes care, cleans that child, dresses that child. God cares for you. Everything in your life has come from that care, has come from that parental, divine energy that says, I got you. I got you. You cannot fall. I've got you. We kind of did this a few years ago, and this came through me. I want to own it because I love it so much. So I'm going to say, yeah, this was mine, but it was God's. It was all God's because something's going to come back on me for that little ego moment today. But at any rate, a few years ago, I realized as I was doing some spiritual work, I thought, you know what? Stop. Stop with your fretting. Stop with your anxiety. Spirit's working it out. Spirit is working it out. And that became a thing. Judy Blackwelder wrote a song about it. We made bracelets that say Spirit's working it out.
And t-shirts and mugs.
T-shirts and mugs. And I think, since it was my phrase to begin with, we can just bring it back, is what I'm thinking. It wasn't my phrase. It's God's phrase. It's knowledge that we all share because we're all connected. Where is the boundary between you and I? That idea in the meditation of where is the boundary, we can't find it. This is the energy of oneness. The energy of oneness is that we're all tapped into the same wisdom. Because Spirit's working it out came through me doesn't mean it belongs any less to you because we're all tapped into the same wisdom. We're all tapped into the same oneness. So cast all your anxiety on that because the divine cares for you. Spirit's working it out. It's covered. You can almost just say, I don't know, you'll have to ask my mom. She'll tell you, right? Spirit is working it out. I said in a reel this week that my intention was that everyone would leave here feeling 10 pounds lighter. And that was just the phrase that came to me as I was thinking about this earlier this week. I thought, what do I really want? Because I love these kinds of Sundays. I'm not much of a series person, believe it or not, as many series as we have done, because it starts to feel a little bit like I'm a little bit locked into something. I love to just flow with Spirit. What Spirit got to say this week, let's go with that. And as I was working on this week, I was like, what do I want to have happen? I want everyone to leave feeling 10 pounds lighter. I want whatever is weighing you down, whatever anxiety you're carrying, to just be laid down right now. Back in the old days, back in the Nazarene church, we would say, leave your all on the altar, right? Well, that concept still exists. Leave your all on the altar of the divine. Take everything and set it down. What is your anxiety? Hand it over. God's caring for you. Whatever it is, you're not doing it wrong. There's not something you're not getting. You're getting everything you need to get right now. And your only prayer needs to be, Spirit, whatever it is I need to get right now, bring it to me. Bring it to me, and I know you will. Don't even have to fret over it. Done. See ya. Have a good day. Right? We can let go of it. We don't have to keep begging and asking and hoping. We just open ourselves up to it. Whether it's money or family or relationships or work or church, because sometimes there's stress with church. And I'll be honest with you, there were many years where I had stress with church. It felt like a job. Interestingly enough, it felt like a job when it wasn't my job. And when it is my job, it feels like joy. I missed you guys last week. Like, I loved having a week off. Don't get me wrong. And I was like, I miss everybody. I got to get back. Things happened. I don't know if y'all know this, but Tom tried to cut his hand off while we were gone. We got construction happening, right? Things happen. And this is my community. This is my spiritual family. I want to know about these things. I'm interested in these things. So regardless of where the source of your stress or anxiety or anything you might be feeling today, you are one with the sound of God's voice whispering in your ear, just like you were one with the sound of Ryan's piano. There's no boundary between you and the voice of God. You are one with the breath of Spirit that is breathing as you breathe it. You are one with every answer and every being and every energy and every love and every joy and every peace and every freedom. You are one with every awakened being who has ever walked this planet. You are one with the awakening within you at this moment. The you that you truly are. The divine spirit of life that breathes in you, through you, as you. This you that you truly are is completely uninvolved with anything except oneness. You hear that? The you that you truly are is completely uninvolved with anything except oneness. The worries, the frustrations, any sense of lack, any need to draw a boundary to begin with, any idea that there could be a right way or a wrong way, all of that lives in the ego projection of our lives. Every single bit of it lives in this person that we've created and we think is us. It all lives in the self we think we are. And escaping into freedom, escaping from all of that into freedom, only requires that we rest in our true self, our true beingness, pure presence, the divine presence of God that is the very air we breathe. Whatever it is that helps you get there and stay there as often as possible. Whatever it is that helps you live from there as much as is possible, that is your path and it belongs to you. Whether it's incense and meditation, whether it's being addicted to your phone that keeps, whatever that was. Whatever it is, that's your path. If you need to pray to Jesus, pray to Jesus. He's listening. He's listening. If you need to hand it over to the spirit of the divine goddess during Navratri, she's listening. We are all one. We are all connected. I pray that I may somehow shine a light on that path for you. It is the mission of my life to somehow be a part of what helps, be a part of what might shine the light or help you see whatever is yours to see. It may not even be mine to see, But if I can shine that light, I will. I can't give you a path. I can't create a path. I can't tell you which direction to go. I can only hold a flashlight and hope that my own batteries are charged enough that I can shine that light and provide enough for you to help see your own way. I want to leave you with one more Muji quote. So just kind of like rest in that meditative energy that we had earlier and listen to these words. Don't worry about anything at all. You are not here by accident. This form is just a costume for a while. But the one who is behind the costume, this one, is eternal. You must know this. If you know this and trust this, you don't have to worry about anything. The world is so full of love. And your heart, your being, is so full of love, so full of peace. You don't have to go anywhere else to find peace. It is right where you are. Namaste.
How'd that go again? Spirit, Spirit, Spirit's working it out. Spirit, Spirit, Spirit's working it out. Have no fear, have no doubt. Spirit's working it out. Spirit, Spirit, Spirit's working it out. Spirit, Spirit, Spirit's working it out. Have no fear, have no doubt. Spirit's working it out. One more time. Spirit, Spirit, Spirit's working it out. Spirit, Spirit, Spirit's working it out. Have no fear, have no doubt. Spirit's working it out. Now remember, that is a blast from the past. I'm like, what key is that in? Thank you so much. We have so much to chew on for the week, and I'm definitely looking forward to a Facebook post this week to unlock the secret to winning the lotto. Okay. So yeah, stay posted for that. So let's take just a moment to get into that gratitude, and we can slip into gratitude from so many different places, from joy, from peace, from love. Just grab onto whatever you're feeling now and shift it into gratitude, because we are so grateful for all of the love, peace, and joy that we've been given. And especially as it comes through this spiritual community, we're grateful for the opportunity to have a physical and spiritual experience of love, joy, and peace. Grateful for this opportunity to give back to the potential that is this spiritual community. So the way that we do that, the activity involved is giving of our time, talents, and treasures, and we give generously from the depths of our hearts to the bottom of our souls. And you can see on the screen here the ways to give back from the treasures perspective. Plenty of ways to do that. If you've got paper, there's a red bucket right there in the back. You can slip your paper right in there. So let's say our offertory blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies. All that I choose to give and all that You're not playing on this, okay? All right. So let's say thank you, God. Sing this as a prayer. as we leave this place, knowing a love that's so real. Here in this moment, we stand in our truth. We welcome the peace that it brings. God, as you guide us, renew and remind us that you are the reason we see. God, as you guide us, renew and remind us that you are the reason we see. Yes, we are. Everybody, let's stand. And Sherry, will you lead us in the prayer for protection?
I will. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Life is good. We're truly blessed. All is well. Life is good. We are truly blessed. All is well. Life is good. We are truly blessed. All is well. Life is good. We are truly blessed. All is well. Life is good. We are truly blessed. All is well. Life is good. We are truly blessed. All is well. Life is good. We are truly blessed. We're truly blessed. We are truly blessed. So it is. Bye, everybody online. We'll see you guys next week. Have an awesome week, everybody.